Thank you for purchasing our calcium treatment kit. If you follow the instructions that we've sent you and watch this video, you'll get a great result and be really pleased with the outcome. Since 2013, we've used this kit more than 10,000 times with great success. So if you do these things, you'll be really happy with the result. It works on all types of swimming pool surfaces, whether it be fiberglass, vinyl, concrete, pebble, glass bead, or even tile pools, you'll see a great result. It also works on all types of sanitation systems, so whether you've got a magna pool, a chlorine-free pool, a copper and iron pool, or just a saltwater pool, the treatment will work great in those situations. So it has a shelf life of 4 years as well, so if something changes in your life and you're not able to use it for 6 months, that's totally fine. The treatment will still work very well. In short, the instructions that we send you are actually pretty simple. Really, all we're going to have you do is check and balance the water, reduce the chlorine, pour in the liquid, dissolve the powders, and pour it into the pool and give it a brush 4 hours later. That's basically the instructions that we're going to do. So the first thing we'll have you do is get your water tested at the pool shop. This instruction sheet will tell you what you need to do in terms of those levels, which we'll cover now. So do all the things that the pool shop recommends, but just keep these levels in mind that we talk about here, where we talk about how we should have the pH at 7.2, and we should also have the free chlorine at around 1 part per million. So you'll reduce the pH by adding a little bit of hydrochloric acid if you need to, and the chlorine you'll reduce by turning down your saltwater chlorinator. These two things are the most important part of preparing the water. If you have these two levels right, you're 90% of the way there. The other thing that we want you to take care of is to make sure that your calcium hardness is less than 600 parts per million. If it isn't, we have a whole page on our website dedicated to showing you how to reduce the calcium hardness in your pool water. So to reduce the chlorine, to get that down to 1 part per million, you'll do that by turning down your saltwater chlorinator. We don't want you to turn the unit off, we just want you to turn it down. And normally there will be up and down arrows or a dial where you will turn that down to 0 output, which means that the unit is still running like it normally does, it's just not producing any chlorine. Just do that. Continue to keep your pump running on its normal daily cycle. It may take a few days for your free chlorine to get down to the right level, but be patient, it will happen. Once you're at that level, we'll then have you 3/4 fill a bucket full of water and then pour in the bottle of liquid into that bucket, give it a stir and pour it into the pool with the pump running. Leave the pump running for about 5 minutes and that will dissolve that product into the pool, which is the calcium prevention product. That's the first part of the treatment. Then, once that's done, if we've asked you to, we will have you put amount of hydrochloric acid into the pool. This amount will be in the email that we've sent you with your invoice, and it will tell you exactly how many litres or cups you need to put into the pool before the treatment is applied. We want you just to 3/4 fill a bucket full of water again, pour in the amount of hydrochloric acid that we've told you to, give it a stir and pour it into the pool and let the pump run for 15 to 20 minutes after you've done that. This will deliberately lower the pH again. So we know you've already balanced the water. We're going to have you put this in to reduce the pH even further in your case to make sure that you get the best result. If we haven't asked you to do this, that is totally fine. You can completely skip this step. It means in your case your pool does not need extra acid, and about half the pools that we treat don't need extra acid, but some do, which is why we mention it here. So then once we've done that, we're ready to add the powders. The first one, the EDTA up here, that will take about 15 minutes. Just dissolve that into a bucket of water, pour the whole bag in, stir it around, let it dissolve, pour it into the pool with the pump running, then just wait a short period of time and dissolve the second product, the NS, put that into a bucket of water as well. This one will generally take about half an hour to dissolve. It takes quite a while. Let that completely dissolve into a bucket of water and pour it into the pool. While you're doing this, you'll leave the pump running just for a few hours to make sure that it is all mixed in properly. And then after that, turn the pump back on to its normal cycle. So we don't want you to run the pumps constantly. You don't need to do that for weeks on end. Just run it initially like it talks about in the instructions. And then once you've done that, you can have the pumps run on its normal cycle. Make sure you turn off any heaters or solar systems while you're doing this for the first little while, as it talks about in the instructions, so that it's not running through those systems while they're functioning. It's okay to run through when they're off, but we don't want those functioning at that time, and we talk about that in the instruction sheet that you have. We normally recommend leaving those off for about 2 weeks. So now you've put the powders in, you're now ready to just give the pool a brush. So once all of the powder has been dissolved and put in the pool, and all of the other products that we've talked about, we want you to give the floor and walls of the pool a good brush to make sure that they're all nice and clean. It generally takes about 3 weeks for the calcium to completely dissolve. So it's not instant. Calcium is as hard as concrete, as you probably know, and it will take a while to break it down, soften it, and erode it out of the system. You can put your robotic cleaner back in the pool after a week, or if you have an older style suction cleaner, which works through a hose going into the skimmer box, you can put that back in the very next day. You don't have to wait for that one. So now you have put the calcium kit in the pool. You have done everything that we would recommend you do. And now you've done that, you're ready to watch our next video, which talks about what to do now you've put the calcium treatment in, where you go from there. Thank you very much.